your experience convince you to tell a friend about us.
I'll do better than that, Rambley. I'm going to tell as many people as possible. Hey guys, Second AA here. Late to the trends, as always. I recently discovered the YouTuber Mason Myers, better known as UniqueGeese, a name a lot of you may have already heard, mainly due to today's topic. But I discovered him through the video in which he recreated Garten of Banban in just 1 week. I didn't end up playing it because most of the surprises were in the video, but I was looking to see if there was a chapter 2 or if there was at least going to be, and well, no. But I was looking at the video saying it probably was never happening, and he announced he was working on his own game, at which point I started to put pieces together. I had heard of a YouTuber-made mascot horror game a month or 2 ago, and I just kind of let it fly off my radar. But now, I had to check it out. And I mean, the jury's still out, but what I found may be my favorite mascot horror game of all time. Let's talk about it.
Section 1. Reincarnated.
So for the sake of this video, I decided to go ahead and play Reincarnated for the first time, for the sake of drawing comparison between the developer's first week of game design experience and the following year's worth. And Reincarnated is fine. It's Banban, so you can't make it that scary, but that said, comparative to the original, the game is much more fun and much, much scarier. Shockingly, a game made in a single week, not perfect. It might even be worse optimized than the original. Here are just some of the issues I dealt with. But overall, it's a vast improvement over Garten of Banban. Look for instance at Opilabird here versus Opilabird from Banban. One is much more terrifying than the other, but it's not like, oh, it's a kindergarten, they shouldn't look scary, because in Reincarnated, the kindergarten has been closed for years. The gameplay in this one is also significantly more fun, with the expanded egg hunt area being a prime example. 4 of the eggs are in the original area, but 2 have been moved into this play place piping, which should look familiar. But it is a little bit broken texture-wise. We also get our second look at Opilabird here. I'm not going into the whole game, but I now have it as a point of reference for Indigo Park. Oh, this Don't Hug Me I'm Scared reference made me choke on my own laughter, by the way.
Choosing normal, plain-looking food such as bread, cream, white sauce, and aspic keep the body ticking over just nicely.
Now that we have the basis for comparison, let's move on from Reincarnated. That is not the point of this video.
Section 2. The dev process.
Being a YouTuber and streamer, UniqueGeese has not been super private regarding the development of Indigo Park. First announcing that he was developing his own indie horror game only about a week after the release of Reincarnated on April 4th, 2023, with the video, The Future of Reincarnated.
So instead of working on a Chapter 2 for now, I am proud to announce that development has begun on a brand new Indie Mascot Horror game.
And that's really all we got at the time, with the promise of further updates later on. And 2 months later, we got a bit of exactly that.
The gameplay and visual style is very similar to what you saw in Reincarnated.
He also announced weekly devlogs on Patreon. I'd love to check those out to better flesh out this video, but I'm a broke-ass bitch, so we'll only be sticking to what was publicly available. But please, if you can, go support UniqueGeese and the game on Patreon at patreon.com/UniqueGeese. If I remember, I'll also link that and all of his socials in the description. Remind me in the comments if I didn't. That was it for that video, but the very next month, on July 17th, UniqueGeese dropped the official announcement trailer for Indigo Park. We now had a title, a cute mascot character, the setting, that being an amusement park that had gone abandoned for 8 years, minus 2 days, can't forget leap years, and this frame, at the end of the video. Blink and you miss it. This picture is interesting. As people who have played the game could tell you, this is definitely Molly Macaw. However, it doesn't appear that this is her finalized design. It looks more like a halfway cross between the design for Opilabird in Reincarnated and the animatronic version of Molly, though I can't say for sure. The very next video, released only 1 week later, Mason released a bit of a Q&A video to help fill in some gaps on our knowledge about the game. From this video, we learned that the game will be chapter-based. He also reiterated that the game would be completely standalone from Reincarnated or Banban, and it was completely original. On top of that, Mason made it clear that the first chapter would be completely free, with the knowledge that any follow-up chapters would probably cost something to keep the funding going. An estimate is made that there will probably be about 5 chapters to the game, but no more than 5. And those were the major reveals in the Q&A. A couple months later, we got another trailer showing their version of the Disneyland dedication speech that Walt Disney made on opening day, as well as showing some of the areas we were going to be able to explore. We got our first view of Bird Up, a parody of 7-Up, and direct reference to a Garten of Banban meme started by another YouTuber, who many blame/give credit for the monumental success of Banban. We get to see the monster version of Molly Macaw in this trailer in much greater detail than in that flash image at the end of the previous trailer. A month later, another video was posted related to several topics, including Funny Scary Raccoon Game, which of course is what we're interested in today. Mason announced in this video that the game was being pushed back to early 2024 rather than October 2023 to allow his team more time to make the game as good as it could possibly be. He also teased a character named Lloyd the Lion, but he pretended it was someone else asking about him and accused them of making him up. In November, UniqueGeese posted a sneak peek of the gameplay, with some notable differences from the final game, such as a stamina bar, a clear year of the in-game date so you don't need to figure it out with math, and a different interior to the admission office. In late February, a new video was posted in which Mason introduced some of the characters we were going to meet in Chapter 1 of Indigo Park, only teasing Finley and Salem, but fully revealing Lloyd the Lion. After that, the next major reveal we got would be May 14th, where we got a new trailer, mainly just to finally reveal the release date, which would be only 4 days later on May 18th, 2024. And with that, we're finally done talking about all the easily accessible public info on the game's development. We can now finally move on to
Section 3. Can you please just talk about the game already?
So for this section, as well as every section going forward, that being 4 and 5, we're entering a zone of spoilers. If you haven't yet played Indigo Park, please go do that. There may be a few issues, but the game is phenomenal, and the more people who play it, the better. Indie devs need support, guys. So we start the game having just hopped the fence, and we are now at the park's gate, which, naturally, is locked. So we head into the admission office and we get assaulted by Rambley the Raccoon's aggressive friendliness.
Hi there, and welcome to Indigo Park! The world's most innovative and engaging family fun experience! You're our first guest in 2,920 days, 4 hours, 23 minutes, and 38 seconds! Congratulations!
Rambley stares at us through the computer's camera and doesn't recognize us, which is interesting as we know factually that our character has been to the park more than a few times. He then proceeds to lie to us.
No worries, it's Rambley Tuesday!
We need to restart the generator to the park in order for Rambley to be able to open the gates for us. So we go and find a gear to fix the generator and get it running, and finally...
Welcome to Indigo Park!
Only to immediately be stopped again because we don't have a critter cuff, which is this park's equivalent to Disney's magic bands. Once we have one, we can finally head into the park. After entering, we hear a crumbling sound, but don't see anything crumble, prompting us to turn around and see that the entrance has crumbled behind us. A bit odd, given that it seemed so structurally sound just a second ago. Rambley then proceeds to lie to us.
Pardon our dust, buddy. Looks like the park is going through some renovations.
And so with it being our only option, we head over to Rambley's Railroad and get our first glimpse of our new stalker. But more on that in a bit. Once we get on the train, Rambley proceeds to introduce us to each of his friends.
It's Molly Macaw, the greatest pilot you ever saw!
Oh, Finley! Come on out and greet the people!
Finley is a wonderful Eeyore parody. Who could not love this guy? The train breaks down about halfway through, seemingly due to the wrecked area where we would have met this skunk character, and we need to fix the train in order to continue the ride. And then we get to be introduced to
Lloydford L. Lion, actor extraordinaire!
Great act, Lloyd.
Of course it was! I'm the real star!
After that, we finally enter the most beautiful area in the game. We have a gorgeous fountain in the center of a large plaza, including Lloyd's stage, and in the distance you can see what we'll call Rambley's Fun Wheel due to some obvious similarities to the Pixar pal around, formerly Mickey's Fun Wheel. Rambley calls us over to an information kiosk. Well, we'll just talk about that part later. Further down the street, we get to Jetstream Junction, which is unfortunately locked up, so Rambley grants us access to the main stage. So that we can get keys from the security office backstage. Entering the theater, which is clearly inspired by Muppet Vision 3D, which is immediate bonus points for me, we see what appears to be a lion costume laying onto the stage. Until it gets up and runs to the back. And here's our first real couple of scares in the game. First, another visit from our stalker, but telegraphed with a sound cue, making certain that this one is one everyone will notice. And then... After getting the keys and seemingly being saved from Lloyd by Rambley, or at least otherwise the Critter Cuff, we leave the theater and head back to Jetstream Junction. Rambley sends us to Molly's ride, Rooftop Races, but that seems to be unusable at the moment, which naturally means Rambley has to proceed to lie to us.
Looks like Molly crashed into the ride again. Don't worry.
So he sends us back down the stairs to check out the landing pad, but before heading over there, we check out the food options, including beverages such as the ever-popular Bird Up, Kohler, Diet Water, and a second reference to Yeah. In one of the eating areas, there's an arcade machine, Rambley's Rush. In here, we finally officially meet Salem the Skunk, who uses a potion to turn Molly against us. This feels important. We'll make a note of that. After killing Molly, we head into her landing pad, which turns out to be... oh no.
Hello, ugly.
This room does a great job of telegraphing the puzzle before presenting it to you. There are 5 cubes, one of which is separate from the other 4. The separate one is positioned right next to a spray-painted star of the same color. By turning the cube to the star icon, a door next to it opens, so now you know to be looking out for those spray-painted icons. And, to further help you out, Molly here leads you in the direction you need to go in order to see the icons. Once we've used the cubes to open the big door in the middle, it's time for our one opportunity to die in this chapter. Which naturally means that's immediately what I wanted to do in my first playthrough. A bad jump scare can ruin a horror game after all. Kill me. Very cool. Not especially scary? My thoughts exactly. Me. Side note, when the game released, the death screen looked like this, and now it looks like this. The art is a huge upgrade to me. Ooh. Very cool. So Molly chases you through the play area and some vents until Rambley slams a door on her. Literally. It's only at this point that Rambley finally drops the facade and explains that the park isn't actually operating as it should be. Thanks. Wouldn't have noticed. So Rambley asks us to help restore the park, and we
aren't opposed to this.
not necessarily in favor of it, but it's not like we can leave anyway.
Ooh, I'm so excited. Let's get this place back in business.
Once we've left the building, we head over to Oceanic Odyssey, and the chapter ends with a preview of Finley. You know, the tiny sea serpent from earlier. And then we get a cute song sung by Rambley that is both in the context of asking for feedback about the park experience in-game, of course, but also seemingly the team asking for feedback regarding the actual game experience, which... If only there was someone around to make a video.
Section 4. The review.
The game's pretty good.
Section 5. Lore and theory.
Okay, not really. We can have something a little more in-depth. Bear with me though, as I don't tend to do reviews very often. For the sake of fun subsections, let's use the song as a template, and I'll expand from there.
Were you satisfied with the rides? Yes or no?
This is already an odd question, and the literal answer is no? I'm hoping we get to ride more attractions in later chapters. I do love Rambley's Railroad, but I'm hoping for more like thrill rides somewhere down the line with like stay alive minigames. Just an idea. But I just want more decrepit and abandoned actual rides.
Were you satisfied with your guide?
Oh, definitely. This game wouldn't be nearly as good without Rambley. It would feel much more generic. Not bad, but just another game in the genre. Rambley really solves that problem and makes the game what it is. Also, I've been wanting to talk about this for a while now. This game is so funny, often without needing to be.
Do you know why Rambley the raccoon loves Rambley's Railroad? Because I like trains.
I like trains.
Wait, hold on! This room's staff only! Come on in, new staff! Oh, silly Rambley. Every guest needs a critter cuff. That will allow you access to reserved areas, charge payments to your room, and wear a critter cuff! Ew, Lloyd.
Rambley makes the game so good, and Otterboy VA is the perfect actor to make that character come alive.
Do you plan to come back? Will I see you again?
Yes, and yes. I'm eagerly awaiting Chapter 2. I guess this is the everything else portion of the review, so let's try to do this. From the beginning, Indigo Park does such a wonderful job of mixing the magic you feel at the Disney parks with absolute dread. The atmosphere is so perfect for what the game is trying to achieve. It's so perfect that if you look at almost any Let's Play of the game on YouTube, when Rambley pops up suddenly, he manages to make most people jump because the dread has already set on so hard, but by the time he's done talking, almost everyone is in love with the character. Absolutely what was intended with this area, and the rest of the game doubles down on this. Just when you could feel the sense of security that comes from basically being at a Disney park, you get a glimpse of Molly McCaw stalking you from the shadows, until finally the cheerful facade drops about halfway through, and you can just be on edge the whole time from there. And even then, Rambley does a wonderful job keeping you level-headed. On edge, but still having fun. As I've mentioned, the park's design is just beautiful, and compared to many of its contemporaries, or hell, a game made by its creator just last year, the game runs well and is a great time from start to finish. Now the game isn't like super well optimized, but it still runs pretty well, even on my decade-old PC on high graphical settings, so it's better than some would have you believe, including UniqueGeese himself. It runs better than Security Breach or Garten of Banban on this computer. The creature design is perfect. It's hard to tell what the mascots are, be it robots, people in costumes, or some third thing, until robots are ruled out by, you know, that. And then the people in costumes theory is ruled out as well, but we'll get to that soon. Overall, I'd say Chapter 1 is wonderful proof of concept / introductory chapter. From the beginning to the teaser at the end, super creepy and incredibly fun. You will definitely see me again in Chapter 2, Rambley.
Did I earn your trust?
No.
Section 5. Lore and Theories.
Alright, so I'm not usually a lore guy. Although I do stock the lore from the shadows, I just don't talk theories all that much on YouTube, but I've always wanted to, especially since the obvious leader of video game theorizing retired. So let's give it a go. Our first lore hint comes very early. We know the park closed out of nowhere, and thanks to Rambley, we know it's been 8 years. Just off camera in the opening on the newspaper, it actually gives a date. This happened in 2015, meaning while no longer being shown in-game, this still takes place in 2023. The next major lore clue comes from when the train breaks down on Rambley's Railroad. First, there's Salem broken in half for some reason. Along with her general lack of representation in the park, it feels vital, especially given her role of antagonist in Rambley Rush, the arcade machine. And then there's the long aforementioned Molly animatronic in this section, which many have interpreted to be saying, and based on how Rambley talks to and about Lloyd,
Hey there, Lloyd. Great act, Lloyd. Now you know all about my friends and Lloyd. Ew, Lloyd.
this would indeed appear to be the case. Or at the very least, he does indeed dislike Lloyd. We can also interpret the high-pitched noise that emits from the critter cuff to scare Lloyd away as, indeed, hurting Lloyd. And based on what happened to Molly, he doesn't necessarily seem opposed to hurting these mascots. And it's not as though Rambley has proven himself to be the most trustworthy raccoon up to this point. He just generally acts very suspicious through the whole thing, and basically asks you to help rebuild the park in his own image. And then there's the information kiosk, home to most of the lore and or Rambley's thoughts as well as our own character's thoughts on each item. We'll go through all of this one by one. The Rambley Raction Figure. It's the all-new Rambley the Raccoon Raction Figure, available at your local toy store. It's cool to see that there's still some mint condition ones in the park.
Oh, I got this. I know the commercial by heart.
Wow, it's the unlimited edition Rambley the Raccoon Raction Figure. Push him down and he jumps. Push him up and he doesn't. Only $19.99 at your favorite toy store.
Poodle Plush. It's a weird poodle plush. It doesn't seem to be an Indigo product. Sure doesn't look like any character you've seen in the parks. Maybe a child left it behind?
Hey, buddy, did you dig that out of the lost and found, or was it in the trash? No surprise to guess that our park would dispose of a non-Indigo brand toy. I suppose he'd make playtime special for a child with poor taste, though.
Brambleberry. This thing popped out of the Rambley Rush arcade cabinet. How is this even possible? Do you think it's edible?
Whoa, where'd you get that? Brambleberries are my favorite! Oh, if only I could jump out of the screen and take a big bite. Don't eat it! Maybe I'll be able to one day!
Souvenir Cup. When I was a kid, they used to have free unlimited refills on these things. I once drank so much Bird Up that I got sick and threw up while riding rooftop races. That poor kid behind me.
Ooh, that's a Rambley cup. Nothing beats the taste of fresh Rambleberry juice drunk directly out of my plastic, lifeless head.
I know I'm skipping one, but we'll come back to it at the end of these. Gold Rambley Plush. So, wait, they were so money hungry that they just recolored Rambley and called it a new product? Kinda lazy, don't you think?
Wow, is that a limited edition gold Rambley plush? Parents were fighting tooth and nail for those things when they came out. Seriously, our employees had to clean up so many stray teeth and nails. Hard to believe there was all that demand for a regular Rambley plush we just blasted with gold spray paint.
Molly Plush. I remember when my mom took us to the parks one summer. Her favorite was always Molly, so when they first opened a new Molly meet and greet in Jetstream Junction, we were some of the first in line.
Oh, a Molly plush! She's always been my best friend. Did you know she builds planes in her landing pad at the park? And then she crashes them. She's so talented.
Finley Plush. The sea serpent always kind of freaked me out. I love aquariums and fish, but the size of him always made me feel uneasy as a kid.
Ooh, you found my buddy Finley. You know, he's really shy. Like, too shy. Like, obnoxiously shy. But he's got a good heart. I hope you get to meet him someday.
Lloyd Plush. I feel like as a kid, Indigo used Lloyd a lot more. He was always one of my favorites.
Ew, Lloyd.
Rambley Plush. Ah, there's my buddy. Kinda feels like Rambley has a whole empire now, bringing the main man of Indigo and all.
Congratulations! You found me! Don't I look adorable?
Rambley Ears. I remember watching those old DVDs that Indigo would send to your house when you booked a reservation. They always advertised the biggest gift shops and made all this silly merchandise look so fun. My dad promised he'd buy me a pair when we went.
Rambley ears! Those used to fly off the shelves. That pair's pretty damaged, though. Keep your eyes peeled. There's gotta be at least one more mint condition set out there somewhere. Like a yard sale.
I saved these last two for last, well, because one of them, of course, is last, but also because they're both so much more lore-heavy and there's actual things to say about them. First, the Retro Lloyd Plush. I always find it weird when companies make merch that's supposed to look old. Lloyd obviously had an older look in the classic Indigo cartoons, but I'm not sure it looked like this. I guess nostalgia sells.
Ugh. I don't get why we even have those. And why do they only make one of Lloyd? Is it because he's the loudest? I can be loud too! Where's my limited limited edition throwback plush. Where's Molly's? Where's Finley's? Give this mistake to a child and they'll cry.
So it's interesting to note that Rambley flashes into his conductor uniform in this rant, perhaps hinting that either Rambley's first cartoon was as a train conductor, or that Lloyd's first cartoon was one in which Rambley was a conductor. Or, going even deeper into speculation, perhaps this has something to do with a real-life story. It's possible Lloyd was Isaac Indigo's first creation and was, at the time, a train conductor, but Indigo didn't have the rights to Lloyd as he was made for a different company. But maybe eventually Indigo got the rights to Lloyd and started making things with him again, and due to this, he got crazy popular with dedicated areas in the park and a lot of merch, including plenty to harken back to his retro days, though still using the modern design, exactly as Oswald the Lucky Rabbit was treated by Disney when they got his rights. California Adventure basically became his park. Plushies have been made, both of his modern incarnation in the epic Mickey games and retro versions of his modern design. Not the design he had at the time. The random explosion of popularity could also absolutely have made Rambley crazy jealous, which would explain his disdain for Lloyd, despite the artwork of them shaking hands, which could be symbolic for Lloyd rejoining the Indigo family, as Lloyd just suddenly came in and took a lot of the spotlight from the main character of the park. All of this is speculation, of course, but it's something to chew on, and I'll probably try to go down this rabbit hole further later on. Rambley mask. Whoa, freaky. This must be one of those mascot costumes they used to use in the parks. In a weird way, I'm kind of glad they retired these. Now, before I play Rambley's part, keep in mind that although it's lore heavy, this part is also a joke. It's a reference to a game that any self-professed king of the FNAF fan community should know about.
Whoa, where'd you find that? I've never seen anyone wearing one. Pretty snazzy. Ooh, looks like there's an audio recording tagged with costume in my database I've never noticed before. Let's listen!
Hey Jackson, you hear about the new mascots?
Yeah, think it'll put us out of a job?
I think so. Old sport. And right after we got this damn raccoon costume.
Man, screw this place. I said we get our asses out of here and go straight to Vegas.
Aw, come on. They didn't even document the Indigo inventory ID for the costume. I was really looking forward to that. What a useless recording. Deleted.
So what this tells us is that, for one, the mascots are not costumes, so they're definitely a third thing. Definitely sentient to some degree, perhaps real animals? Mutated? But also on top of that, they showed up right after Rambley was finally going to have representation in the parks via a mascot costume, but they never even bothered to index the costume due to the new mascots coming in. Mascots that every character received except Rambley, and potentially Salem, jury's still out. But of course, that includes Lloyd, who Rambley already hated how much of a spotlight he was getting. This would likely be the last straw. That is probably why... So here's my crackpot theory. I don't trust Rambley. At all. I don't necessarily want to call him a villain, as the only true villains I see are Indigo as a company, seemingly bringing real animals in to be mascots, and if you know anything about like circuses and the sort, animals don't tend to be treated well in entertainment environments. And based on Molly McCaw's lines, which are directly told, are parroted to us.
Get up, you stupid freak. Get back in your cage, bird. The customer is always right.
We can wager it's the same in this place. But I think Rambley has basically used the ringing of the critter cuffs to, paired along with the abuse, slowly drive the animals mad. He used Salem and her potions as a scapegoat. As shown in Rambley Rush, Salem takes the blame. But in actuality, he caused the mascots to go crazy and attack, forcibly closing the park down until someone was stupid enough to head back and help him recreate the park in his own image. He was able to do exactly that, and we've already assisted him in killing one of the mascots. My prediction is that we will pick off the others so he can replace them with the animatronics or some other form of representation. All except Lloyd, who he likely plans to end the representation of as a whole. That's my crazy conspiracy theory based on the info we have from Chapter 1. I'm sure that Birds of a Feather title means something further than just this is about a bird, though. I'm sure that birds of a feather flock together is important somehow, but I'll need more time to think about it. In the meantime, that's it for the theory.
In conclusion,
guys, this game rules. Go play it and support UniqueGeese and the team in whatever way you can. That's it for this video though. If you enjoyed, please like, comment, subscribe. Encourage me to make more of this type of video. For now though, goat bye everybody. Hey, welcome to Off the Cuff, where I talk about whatever for the 20 seconds that an end card is allowed to be. Thanks so much for watching. This is an interesting experiment. If you liked it, like, comment, subscribe, all that crap. If you look over here, yeah, that'll be our most recent main channel video, 7 months ago, Jesus. If I could beat the main Oblivion game without using any restoration magic, I'm already way over time. And then over here is the gameplay channel, my let's play of this very game. I put daily content out unless I'm editing for the main channel, so subscribe to that if you haven't already. And then down there, right there, is a nice little subscribe button. Please do it, I could use the support. Alright, that's it. Bye.